For me, honestly, when I first got the Facebook message from Pete asking if I would do makeup for the Kickstarter, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds great. And then I went to his profile and I started looking at all of his photos and I'm like, oh, he's good. Like, he's also a makeup artist. Why is he not doing this? And then, like, I started digging deeper, going on YouTube, and just discovering who Pete Carter really was. And I was like, he's somebody, and he's not stopping. So for me, I really did feel really scared.
I would describe it as it's a pleasant surprise, and when I say pleasant, I'm like a disturbing person, so pleasant in my disturbing way.
You know what it is? Because there's no egos and there's no problem with people. Let's just create a product that's positive and that's moving.
Pete and Chuck have a vision.
When we go to Hollywood, there is no bigger stage. This is it.
This will be the year that I make it, that I succeed, that I... It's never like that in my mind. It is, I mean, I could be dramatic about it all I want, but in reality, when I think about the whole Ghoulmaster project in my head, I don't put a time frame on things. I don't say, like, by this year I want to be doing this, by this year I want to be doing that. I do whatever comes naturally and whatever I feel like is right at the moment, and then I just see where it goes. And if I never become famous or well-known, I won't be a disappointed person. I'll be a crazy person. I'll be sitting in my room and I'll be making my art and I'll be doing whatever I'm doing at that point, but I'm not going to be depressed that that it hasn't become like world known or something like that. People started getting tattoos and having me sign them and getting it tattooed permanently on their body. That was a moment where I was like, alright, not that I have to live out my life as Ghoulmaster now, but this can't just be like a little temporary thing. Their hearts are in it, and my heart was in it. I think everybody kind of felt that, and I was like, I need to keep going with this, I need to do something bigger, and that's why I did the Kickstarter.
Originally, when he wanted to do the Kickstarter, he was just like, I'm gonna bring you like $10,000. Okay. The theater alone was $18,000, so $10,000 would have probably drove us to San Francisco to get that organ. That's not really what we paid to do that. But $10,000 would have been a long shot from what we needed to do this show.
I knew that in order to do this, I had to shoot a video that would really get people's attention. It was basically me, Grant, and Chuck who worked together on this video, and it started out as like, yeah, let's put a Kickstarter video together, and then it started growing into like equipment being shipped in and models showing up at the house and makeup artists, and it turned into a real production, which usually everything in my life does.
When I met him, it was really cool experience. I came into this house and there was all this amazing wardrobe and helmets and pieces of stage and everything, and I was like, wow, I would love to have my makeups photographed in this environment. I remember Heather, just the first time I did her makeup, I loved it, and she looks in the mirror and she goes, I think my lips are uneven. I'm like, oh my god, I know they are, but I was just hoping that you would look past that because I don't want you to admit that in front of anyone.
We had just psyched ourselves up for months. We filmed this thing, I saw the amazing editing, and just the whole thing looks great. I knew this would become a success. I knew that all we need is the right amount of people to see this.
Absolutely, this kid is gonna make it. This Kickstarter is gonna happen. Everyone involved was so passionate already, and it was just really inspiring. I then brought my husband to the next meeting after they made it, and he was like, if you don't work with these people, you're gonna regret this the rest of your life.
Sure enough, when we put it up, we reached the goal, we surpassed the goal, and that's what allowed us to move on to Ghoulmaster's Haunted Playhouse in LA. I didn't want to call it a musical, I didn't want to call it a play, I didn't want to call it a concert. So we are referring to it as an experience, a Halloween experience for grown-ups. With first thing we had to do was find a place to live. And we drove cross country, we went house hunting.
It wasn't just like about finding a place to live, like moving into an apartment building somewhere where it's like 2 bedrooms, these are so nice and spacious, and oh look, granite countertops. We needed to find a place where we could live, work, and build this entire show from the ground up.
That was actually the biggest thing on our minds when we were looking at these houses. We're like, can we see the garage? Because we knew what we were about to do. We finally found a house. We started walking through it, and we just both looked at each other, and we were like, yes, this is it. This is absolutely where we're doing this. It was just the way it was set up was so bizarre. It had like doors that you wouldn't expect, and it had you know, a garage, a backyard, a beautiful view of mountains behind us, and
from the front it looks like a tiny little like beach bungalow, and you walk in this house and it's like a football length deep. It's not really football length, I mean, but it's a very deep house.
This house has become Lullaby Palace.
I had no problem finding where the wrap-up party was when I was driving down the street. It's like, is this house? No, the one with the laser lights and the black lights in front and the dead skulls and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think that's it.
Well, let's just say that I still don't even know how many rooms are in this place. I asked D, and he said no.
Palace. Palace is a great place to stay. I mean, the atmosphere is exactly what you want in a house that you're staying at, working on a show with all the people you care about, you know. Great vibes. There was some shenanigans. There was. But, you know, we're all the same here. We're all looking for the same thing.
I've lived here for almost a year. I've had 0 personal space. There's been sets built in my garage. My house is full of haunted furniture. And I feel like if I was living in any other situation, I would be miserable, actually.
It was really cool to be in the Lullaby Palace and seeing all of the set in the house. It got me really amped for the show because seeing all the detail and all of the set pieces and all of the passion and hard work that went into like the little things of the show. It reminded me of like the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland and reminded me of all the things I just love.
It's become an art studio, a creative space for choreography and costumes and makeup,
a safe haven,
set building, and
we're a bunch of artisans here, aren't we? We really are.
A bunch of artisans.
We really are.
Aristocrats.
We're aristocratic artisans in the palace, Lullaby Palace.
When we say the word palace,
we don't mean like a physical palace.
It's building up the expectation.
It's a spiritual palace. It's a
This past summer, which was one of the hottest summers in recorded history, we decided to build the entire Playhouse set. So when we went into the theater, we realized limited space. Limited space, and it was just a flat ground. There was no raised stage. And with all the things that we wanted to do, and with the way we wanted everything to look, I was like, we need a raised section. And that became one of the biggest projects of probably the entire show. Chuck literally built the entire stage in this garage piece by piece, and we moved it out to the backyard. The painting process and the staining process, it was a lot.
Over 2,600 screws individually drilled in by this right hand. That's just the platform. That's nothing. That's just the stuff that the actors are standing on.
Over 2,600 screws this hand.
I think I may have screwed in a grand total of 9 screws, and I'm pretty sure he might have had to unscrew them and re-screw them in later.
And I would come out into the garage, and I would just see Chuck pouring sweat with a saw, with music blasting, screaming.
At the time, it's only been a week since I quit smoking cigarettes, but with the cigarette hanging out of my mouth with the saw going. I put a power tool in his hand a few times during this process, for sure. And then immediately I was like, give it back, I'll do it.
I don't do power tools, and I don't do dishes.
He never does his dishes, and he also never throws anything in the garbage. The garbage is here, and he leaves it on the counter right here. The thing is that when he does do his dishes, like, he's not good at it, so I'd rather just do them anyway. So yeah, that would be my one thing to let everyone know. The Ghoulmaster is a slob.
I mean, I had seen a black box theater before. Wasn't that surprising? But what was surprising was like what we were going to put in this theater had never been really put into a black box theater before. A 24-foot box truck full of stuff. That doesn't go into a 99-seat theater, but it did. I don't know how.
I think right away I was just like, this is the perfect size. This is the perfect size audience. And when I walked backstage there, did the first backstage tour, I just saw everything in my head, like, this is where it's gonna happen 100%. From the beginning, when talking about this project, I always envisioned it being in a small, intimate theater space. My whole vision with this was to pack as much craziness as we could into a tiny theater. So people are literally sitting like right up close to the talent, seeing all this stuff happen in their face, the effects, the lights, the costumes, everything is like, you reach out and you could touch these things. This set was a character in itself.
I mean, the payoff in that little theater, it made it so intimate, like you were sitting in the living room. Like, you know, I was sitting here right now. Being in that theater brought, you were in the Playhouse. You were there.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, ga.
It was not a lot of people at all that showed up to the open call.
We got lucky with the people that did show up.
One of my best friends, Step Stewart, whenever Step comes to any of my projects that I've worked on, it adds this level of professionalism that like gets everybody into shape, because he lives his life like I do. He lives to put his work on stage.
I remember vividly, this is one of my all-time favorite memories of the show, will be walking into the audition room for the first time and seeing Pete Carter sitting there as Ghoulmaster with this crazy mask where you couldn't see his mouth, you couldn't see his nose, all you saw were his big, you know, those eyes, and just being absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. Like, from everything I'd seen of Ghoulmaster and everything I'd seen of the show, I knew he was, you know, not one to be trifled with. After doing my read-through of Lula's mailman scene and getting him to laugh under the mask, it was a sigh of relief, really. And from that point on, it felt more like getting to work with my hero, really.
So when it came to Scare LA, meeting Lainey, our makeup artist, and coming up with the wardrobe with Pete and going down to Fashion District, it was just like everything happened so fast.
It meant so much to me because I knew that I am going to be performing in front of like the horror industry, the haunt industry. So I knew I had to do something that was going to, you know, visually get people's attention.
I just remember specifically one night, we were working on a section. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. And we're in the garage and we're working on it, and he says, I want it to be this certain way. And drill out some couple moves, and he's just like, he makes his face and he's like, and I know what that means. And because he's never like the person to be like, no, that's not, no, he's not like that. He's more of a passionate person, and he cares about your artistry as well. So, and I kind of remember him saying like, let's just come back to it tomorrow or something like that. And I just remember coming back tomorrow and we hit it, and I just came out with like an 8 count, and I was like, hey, try this. And it just worked. And I just remember from that point on, Ghoul King was like easy sailing. It's dripping with swag. Like, right, like if you want, like I really wanted him to like do it like his, like whatever way he wants to do it, but us, it's like with the swag. Like, it's like dripping with, but he has like his own like, yeah.
It's definitely one of those unforgettable nights for me. Like, everything went exactly how I would want it to go.
One of my most successful musical compositions, Space Inside.
It's something that me and Chuck, once again, out in the garage, listening to David Bowie and Elton John and I just put on this instrumental that my friend Brett had made, and Chuck just started going off with lyrics. Like, just, he does this all the time, every day. He just starts singing these songs and has these completely original melodies and completely original lyrics, and they just flow out of him. And so I walk over to my laptop and I press record. I said, I want a song about space, and he sang a deeply emotional song about space.
Masked off corners of your mind. Don't go too late, cause you'll be left behind. Listen to my little darling thing. To be great, you gotta go where no one's playing. Out of your soul, out of your mind, and out of space. You forget about time, forget your trouble, forgot about mine. There's a space inside of you. We're all made of stardust and a little bit of Elmer's glitter. Spend your life trying to be a star again. There's a space inside of you.
So a week before we opened, Chuck picked me up in his car and he was like, "Oh, I have a terrible news for you. It's, you got the part." So that was a really exciting moment for me. Well, I actually felt that I had an amazing freedom with that character. During my first reading, apparently I was doing everything right. And Luca came in and he read his lines with everybody else. And I think he was already off book. First day he was there, I don't think he was looking at the script. And he fully embodied that role completely. Like, Luca stole the show.
I mean, I'm a very shy person, and so the thought of doing theater never even occurred to me before this.
Alice is just a perfect porcelain German vampire.
Heather's I loved because it was dramatic, it was sexy, but it was evil, but it also had glitter. So it was kind of
She was
all these
hot.
different elements, and she's like sex. She is the definition of sex and sexy.
I didn't know what kind of look they were gonna go for with Alice, and just from the test shoot that we did like a week before we opened, I was already in love with it. So.
As soon as I would start putting the makeup on her, I could feel her turning into that character.
So Johnny J. Walker we brought back. He was a character at Fright Fest. When I found out I was going to be doing a show in LA where we had freedom of speech, I always pictured the Johnny J. Walker character cursing a lot. And I wanted to do that so bad at Six Flags. I wanted to do it in a way that we could bleep things out, but we never, we said, we better not do that. So when we got here, I told him, like, listen, Sam, there are no boundaries with this character. Like, I want you to curse up a storm. I want you to make people uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, that was no problem. I found that absolutely fascinating because I love to make people cringe and to make people feel something.
After the first night, he came to me and he goes, the audience is a little uncomfortable and shocked with Johnny. I could feel it.
Oh yeah, no, they were really, I got a lot of silences. I think, one of the lines was I was the one that got the shots of Judy Garland, one of those little munchkins in the old MGM lot, right? And I would say that line, and sometimes it would get a couple chuckles, but sometimes it would be like, and I would see faces being, like they didn't understand.
So Sam comes alive like you wouldn't believe. His choreography and his energy is unmatchable. Joanne as Sherry Goblins, we created this character around her. It was hilarious to me just because she's so sweet and so innocent and so caring that I'm like, I want her to tell some dirty jokes and I want her to say things about murdering children and being a
magical witch nanny! A magical witch nanny! Sugar and spice and everything nice! A magical witch nanny!
Sarah Louise came on to this project like a tornado. And she instantly made connections with all the Ghoulmaster fans, and you could just tell that she was ready to put herself completely into this character and into this project. And I appreciate anyone who has that kind of, who cares that much about their character.
I played a character that is, I want to say kind of so far from me, but also he relates to me as well. He's someone I aspire to be a performer and style-wise and everything like that.
Devin is so talented. He's a choreographer, he does costumes, he's amazing at makeup, He visualizes all these concepts. He's an amazing performer and singer and dancer, and he's just an amazing all-around person. I couldn't say enough good things about the energy that he brought into this house.
Tink? Tink is a
Tink the nymph that lives in the fireplace. Tink the nymph. That's really all we know about her. She's a purple rap superstar. I see her every now and then. She always appears in different outfits and different makeup, and this is both in the show and in real life. Bree and Tink are both walking works of art. Sarah and Lauren play my lattes, a pumpkin and spice, of course. And they are basically just Ghoulmasters, ride or die bitches. They are by my side whenever I need to dance. And I need to dance every now and then. And when I'm ready, they're there, looking fierce and killing it.
I feel like the show has really pushed me to become a better performer and be fearless with my performance, because sharing the stage with Pete is out of this world, and it was a huge challenge to match his energy. I hope I brought that.
And I mean, it's really cool to have been in LA for less than a year and to have already done like a show that's been so highly reviewed and seen as such a positive thing. That's pretty incredible.
When I first learned about the characters that Pete and I and Alondra would be creating together, it was just like really, really fun. It was the most fun I ever had.
Lainey and Alondra were here for hours and hours and hours just working on these characters, and at first like we were really scared, like the idea of getting all that makeup done in that amount of time made us all a little nervous, but the characters were just coming together so perfectly.
And as soon as they got up out of the chair and like stood in front of the light in their costume, like, oh my god, like I knew that
we couldn't even sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I knew that we
Like-
were part of something really special when we saw those characters, because it was cool because Pete came to us with like, I kind of want the character to look like this, but we still got to like do our own interpretation and our own style and throw our own flair into it. And I haven't really got to like pick up an airbrush and look up to my inspirations like V. Neil and make like Beetlejuice makeups. That's how I felt when I was doing it. I was like, I'm making my
creating
own
something.
version of like afterlife makeups, and that was rad to me because that was kind of the thing that brought me into it in the first place.
I was able to see these characters that me and Chuck have been talking about for months. They just came to life right there in front of our faces, and that was another moment that built everybody up to like, okay, this is serious, you know. It's not that serious, but Teddy and Zach packed their bags and flew from the East Coast, moved into the Lullaby Palace, knowing very little about this show and about what was going on. I just said, come out here, do this show for a month, and we're gonna have a great experience.
Is it true you guys are here to work on Ghoulmaster show?
We can't talk about that right now. We just gotta go.
Are you guys working on Ghoulmaster show?
I don't know what you're talking about. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that.
They asked me to introduce them to the cast as, these are the tech guys, don't ever talk to them.
Me and Pete have had a long relationship. I'd say performer to lighting designer, there is no stronger bond than mine and Pete's. And over these last few years, I think he's grown to trust me. He knows that I know what he wants, and I deliver. Because I mean, if you can't produce,
which the lighting like really was like a fourth of the show.
Teddy's lighting design was a huge part of the show. It brought the entire experience to another level, because when you see that kind of lighting in a tiny black box theater, it was intense. I knew that I wasn't going to come here and dance to other people's music and lip sync to other people's voices. That's what I was doing in Ghoulmaster's Ghost. You know, I was performing to Michael Jackson songs, I was performing to tracks that I had made with Santino.
I think Pete did Ghoulmaster at Six Flags and needed some asshole to sing like pop songs over rock music. It's like, hey, turn this Britney Spears song into like a Rob Zombie-ish version. And I was like, okay. So I did Circus and stuff, and we did, what was it? Instead of Queen of the Night, King of the Night. It was cool. And then some originals. I think Scarlett Carson did the first one though, right? The Ghoulmaster!
Classic.
Yeah, dude, super classic.
To me, it was more about the visuals. That never bothered me that I was lip syncing to like someone else's voice, because I just want people to look at it all as a picture. It was just something that worked, something that came naturally. But for this show, I knew we had to create all original music. I knew that was going to be the biggest challenge for me. I just got a bunch of my friends together and I said, make some tracks and we're just going to blend these things into whatever it becomes.
We pretty much just listened to like everything Pee-wee and Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, and we're just like, man, we need to really get into that kind of like, it's like a campy horror vibe, and it was a lot of fun because we got to step out of our element like a fair amount and really kind of fall into something unique.
I think the crowd got most into the Ghoul King performance. The way that whole scene built up to that performance, and everybody was just getting so into it that like it just pumped us up on stage, and that was a moment every night that I felt like, even though the music wasn't loud enough, and I like to really feel the music.
Is it ever loud enough for Pete?
No. God, no. We could have had a $500,000 sound system in there, blew out the windows in the front, and Pete would be like, let's make it a little louder.
So, you know, Zach is in the booth, and I'm like, louder. And he would bring it to the point of right before blowing the speakers.
And like, Pete's Pete, so he's
The thing that I like about Pete is he involves himself in such a way that's so creative and like it inspires you at the same time. So you want to get kind of weirder, you want to kind of keep going and pushing yourself to be something better because he's in the room doing the same thing, and people feed off each other's energy, and he's the kind of person that you feed off of.
It just kind of made me more so appreciate Pete for who he is, because I worked with him on the MJ show that we do, and the perfectionist and the drive and the passion, all that was just magnified when it came to his own show. So
Pete is a force. I have never encountered anyone like Pete. He is seriously inspirational as a performer, as a person, as a leader.
On show day, Pete's usually the last one there. Generally, he comes in the midst of just boom, 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 boom. Everyone's going, everyone's getting ready. It's crunch time. Pete comes in, goes to his dressing room. I follow him in. Sometimes I meet him outside, he doesn't even know I'm waiting for him. Meet him outside, I'll give him the daily debriefing, and it's pretty cool. I'll give him the debriefing, it's always a fun time, it's always high level stress, he seems a little chill and laissez-faire for my taste. But at the time, when I'm talking to him, I can see it's just because, he's getting himself in the zone, and I respect that because I'm like, alright, as long as he's in the zone.
I can't even describe some of the people I've met with coming in contact with Pete Carter. Pete only honestly surrounds himself with people that are positive people. If you're negative, a very short amount of time that you'll have around him. No shade. He loves to see the advancement of things, and he loves to see advancement of people and all that type of good stuff. So if you're not about that, you won't be around. So
he never stresses about anything. He's always very zen. I would describe it as very zen. When Pete comes in the whole time, he'll be soft-spoken, short answers, he'll just say, like, I'll come in with 101 concerns, and Pete will just say, don't worry about them.
There were so many times where I'd be going up a wall, like months before the curtain even went up. We're not even going to discuss opening night and what was going through my body and my mind on opening night. And Pete would always just tell me, it'll work out. And like that would be what you get from him.
First I'll be a little like, not the response I was looking for. But once I give him like, alright, don't worry about it, it works. It works. Somehow, some way, it works.
Chuck as the mailman, from the beginning of this project, we always had it in our head that Chuck was going to be the mailman. I wanted him to be the normal guy. Like, we were all, you know, ghosts and goblins and ghouls and vampires and talking heads on walls, and Chuck was Mr. Normal. You don't have to worry about him. The mailman is an exaggerated version of Chuck, just like the Ghoulmaster is an exaggerated version of me, because Chuck has an image that you would think like, oh, he's Mr. Clean-cut, perfect, normal white guy.
He's not. He's anything but.
Like, at first I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, look at Chuck! And I was like, Chuck.
And so he played the mailman to perfection in my eyes.
Chuck is just a pleasure. I could work with Chuck any day, anywhere, on any gig. Trust him with my life.
Chuck is an amazing energy to have around. He is super funny. Like the funniest person I've ever met in my life.
I love Chuck because he's like a 30-year-old kid. And that makes me so happy inside because he's got so much enthusiasm, so much fervor, so much love. Not only for the craft and for art and for comedy, but for people.
This entire past year has been every single day doing something for this show. And I was having these moments every single day that were just like, okay, I need to slow down and remember everything that's going on, because I knew that this whole thing would flash by so quick, and I would just be like, whoa. I think that's how everybody felt at the end of this show, like, whoa.
Like, for a week after, when the experience ended, like, I had a really, like, I couldn't talk, like, I couldn't describe, and I still kind of can't. I'm still very much dumbstruck.
The final night of the show, on Halloween night, it was a very weird feeling for everyone. We all just came back to the house. We didn't even go out. Everybody was expecting, you know, us to really go crazy and party on Halloween night, but the reality was that we had to be in the theater the next day to move everything out and to take down the entire set. So after it was all over and after we saw the empty theater and we came home, it was definitely a feeling of relief, but it was also a feeling of what's next? Like, well, where do we go from here?
I feel honestly lost right now that the show is over, because I feel like since I've moved into the house, the show has been a constant thought on everyone's mind. And now that that's over, I don't really know what to think about anymore. It's really weird.
Since I've been in California, the second day I was here I had a rehearsal with Ghoulmaster, and it felt like when it ended I didn't even know what the state was anymore. That's all I've known since I've been here.
You know, there were definitely some bumps, and definitely a lot of bruises, and a lot of blood, and some tears, and a couple of buckets of sweat that I'm saving that hopefully you'll buy on the next Kickstarter campaign.
It's just a message of positivity and like, be who you are and be weird and be a freak and just like do you. You do you, boo-boo. That's what this is.
I've never been a part of watching people's dreams come true like this.
Always push the envelope. If you think it's enough, we can go a little bit more, probably. Pretty sure.
I feel like we're all a different kind of insane that gels with each other perfectly. No one here has any touch of reality, and I don't think you could to be in this production, honestly.
I know that this is going to be, that this is not the end, that this will keep going. Especially Pete has been doing this for years. And I know that he's not going to let Ghoulmaster disappear. He's going to keep doing it.
I told Chuck, and I told Pete, I'd regret it truly for the rest of my life if I wasn't a part of this, regardless of what came afterwards.
Finding people that were actually really nice and really fun and really creative and really weird, just like me. It was just a really, really rad experience, and we bonded very quickly.
I think I've pretty much just learned what's important in my life. And how to understand what makes me happy. as opposed to what will make other people happy or fit into a box of any way.
And then you're thrown into this surreal, so happy, loving part of your life that I don't think anyone in this production will ever forget.
I've learned that what matters is you doing what you love. Because I came out to LA just trying to make it. And after doing the show, I've realized that this is bullshit. Because I fucking love doing this show. So that's been really cool to realize. I've realized what matters.
It honestly was this adrenaline high like nothing else. Like, it felt like being thrown into almost a reality show type situation with how high the stakes were and how dramatic everything could be at times.
When you get passionate people together, there is no telling what you can do.
I've just become a lot more aware, I guess, of the vastness of the universe, the shortness of life. We have such a short little time on this thing that we call Earth, and I just want to do as much as I can in this time frame to hopefully make a difference in other people's lives. And I wish that everybody felt the need to really make an impact and bring positivity to the world while they're here. To make yourself happy and to make other people happy around you, that's the only, when it really boils down, that's the best you can do with your time here.
Me and Pete, we want to make people happy. The miserable time we have to spend on this earth. Thank God for people like us who want to make people happy. That's the only reason. It's the only worthwhile. Let's put a smile on a stranger's face. Doesn't know you. That's the best thing in the world. That's why I'm involved. The fact that you can entertain someone and make them escape from their stupid reality for a split second, it's the best.
Chuck, how did we get here?
I the booty.
We what?
I the booty.